Welcome to this exciting episode where the bank holiday weather means I stay inside and work on the front wing.
Oh, the rain came early for the bank holiday, but I've had a little time to try and pin together those wings, gluing and screwing. Okay, here's the first fit. Well, it's roughly together. So, okay, around this side. Need to work out what the fuck I'm going to do with this end of it. And there's a little black line I've got to shape that edge down to. Sometimes carve your knife, just don't cut it.
When using dangerous power tools like this, it's important to keep your workpiece well secured. I mean, even here we clamp the front of it and then start sewing the back of it, you dick. Anyway, Zub Zub's big brother makes short work of shaping the wing.
Power tools other places, but you end up with a rasp every now and then. Shit gets everywhere. But it's stopped raining for a minute, so I'm going to try it for size. First bit shaping's not too bad. Obviously it needs lots more work, but that's the before. And that's the after. I can see the improvement. So this kind of needs to come down. So I'm going to put something there. But also, that stands well proud of the wheel. I'm thinking, if I carve the wing up along that line and into there, we should be okay. Yet more gluing and screwing and waiting for it to dry. Early morning again before I start work. My thinking on this, we've got this glued in now, so we can do it. That line there means we can move a whole lot of that. If we lower this to here, well, you see it's already going up over there. So I'm thinking that is going to be a whole lot flatter along there. So that's the next big thing. Get rid of this rough line, make that level. That's the task. I'm not sure how much I'm going to get done this morning because obviously I've got work in a minute, but we'll make a bit of a start. Well, a little progress in the hour I grabbed, or half hour I grabbed. Off to work now. Wow, that looks big from this perspective. Anyway, I've now taken the wing off the car and bonded these two together. While I was waiting for the other side to go off, I thought to strengthen this side and get rid of that big step with the old spray foam. So that's now holding there and hopefully it'll form a reasonable shape. Well, back down a bit later, the expanding foam has done its thing and expanded. Interesting, where the blue tape was, it's still squidgy. It's literally just that line there. Okay, foam's expanded overnight. Obviously trim this back to roughly this level. Mr. Zub Zub's big brother.
After the rough cuts with the power saw, time for the detailed fine sanding to make sure the piece is clamped firmly in place.
Quick trial fit, and we're not a million miles away, okay on that. That needs to come back to there, but I need to work out where that actually stops. Cut down there on the edge of the up tray, and then make that fit. I'm pretty pleased with that. The wheel actually is making it properly round, but we're getting there. I've now screwed that on from underneath, removed the original bolts. Then draw a line to link this up. So I use my favourite curvy line marker. I figure it's about that. Right, I've got Mr. Zub Zub out again. I'm hoping this sort of narrow bit will allow me to cut round a curve. Well, that bit went better than I thought. Temperature screw in there to fix that relative to the air dam. I want to fill that gap. And if you look from this side. So, to fill the gap, I've got a little trap to stop the foam sticking to that. Going to spray foam over that, probably a bit over there as well. Yay, it didn't rain, and here we are after first trimming. Still need to cut that to size, but I need to make that wheel arch round. I also think from this angle that there bulges out too much, so we're going to shape that one in. Okay, after taking these on and off more than my wife's stickers, I've finally got them roughly into shape. That, I think, looks like a front wing. The headlights. Probably the most distinctive thing on the DS. Fortunately, I went to a car show where there was a real DS, and I took a whole load of photos. So if I'm clever with editing, cue some photos.
Viewed from the front, the lens cover goes onto a flat plane, well, slightly curved. From the side, you really can't see that, so I need to do a flat, curved plane you can't see. Great.
Well, you join me again at 8 o'clock. A couple of hours sanding and shaping. I didn't bother filming it because you're probably bored of it. I know I am. That is fairly close to good now.
Welcome to this exciting episode where I make the left wing, then realise that I've made a major cock up and have to hack apart everything I've made so far. But let's start off with some before and after pictures of the left wing.
This is front end, looking a bit like a front end. Yeah, sorry about the shadows, but it's too early. Anyway, yeah, that doesn't look too bad, but this when you look at it from this side, that gap there, it's horrible. I'm thinking, if I flare that arch out from the wing, possibly slat a vent in behind the wheel, so the whole of that wheel arch comes out further, but has a gap vent to hide it, then space the wheel out a bit. Struggling to think what to do with this. I thought talk to Daddy, but I've dug him up twice already and been banned from the cemetery, so guess I'm going to have to come up with my own plan.
Widen the suspension's at least £4,000, same for deep dish wheels, so we're just going to cut the body to pieces.
Okay, had some time to think about it, and we need to bring this in quite a bit. So, the plan is to bring that in somewhere along that line, take out so much. So what I'm going to do, narrow the bonnet at the front, both sides, then trim some of that inside edge so it fits the new bonnet line, and that'll bring the whole of that edge in. And here you can see the results of a little trimming. Some of you might notice a slight panel gap there, but I'm sure we can fix that.
Yeah, fix that.
Ignore the scribbling, that's all mistakes. I need to chop a whole chunk out of that. I mean, I want this to be about here. So that's disappearing. This is going to get moved up this way, but it's got to work in line with that. Well, that was a lot more cutting and a lot less fun than it could have been. Anyway, around this side it's reasonably flush, but there's the big gap there is because the car's jacked up. So, shave shitloads off there, cut the air dam into 3 pieces. Yeah, bonnet's going to have some work on it. Yeah, a bit of overhang there. Good news is he shortens the nose again, which is something else I wanted. And then, of course, the other side. So, just a quick recap of what I've done to the air dam. It's not that interesting, but you subscribed, so suck it up. Basically, I need to bring that side in. So, what I did was cut there. So, I had a nice place to hide the cut. Then, cut there, which is where I took the wedge out.
You didn't need that first cut, you idiot.
Change the angle here, so this instead of pointing out there, now it comes around like that, or something like that, so it's square. Now I've got to glue it all back together again, and that should mean that side of the air dam is narrow enough to fit with what we want on there. Well, it's 10 o'clock at night and I've got to go because I've got no light. That is now in and aligned. That has got screws and glues. Actually quite pleased with how that went. Now all I need to do is replicate it for this side. I've actually got a proper reference point using my laser pointer and the rear view mirror as the centre line, so that centre line is now the centre of the car, right the way down.
Earlier, I said I didn't need that first cut.
And because I'm a dick, I've just done exactly the same unnecessary cut at this end. So what I need to do now is cut that section out of there. Fucking knob.
A little later, I've finished the air dam and knocked up the left wing. Let's make it the same as the right wing.
Now we have the fun of bending that piece of metal to make the profile of that arch, marking it up, and coming around this side to do the same. So, it doesn't look too bad at first glance. Late evening again, and finally finish off putting all the stripes of the wings. It only took 11 to 7 hours. Sunday afternoon. Actually doing this in a reasonable time of day. Anyway, it's about 20 hours of sanding, filling, shaping, sanding, filling, shaping, and it looks pretty much like it did before I started.
Yeah, maybe a bit better.
The good difference is that no longer sticks out. I'm now going to try and sand the bonnet straight along that line. Not sure how interested you are in watching me sand, but this is that epoxy filler. So here you can see what it's like. Yeah, mountains, craters, pretty crap. This is after blasting it over with 40 grit. So smooth.
For those weirdos who do like watching me sand, here's me sanding. Imagine this in a loop for 30 minutes.
So, after the 40 grit, gave it a miscoat, then sanded it off with a long block to find the high spots and low spots. There are loads, high spots, low spots. I'm going to have to do the same. I'm going to put some glass on those wings, fill them, sand them down to the same sort of level, get them smooth. So,
And in this exciting episode, I fill and sand the front wing until it's ready to take a mould from.
I've got the wing back inside. I'm probably going to build a frame to stand it up on so I can sand it nicely. For the moment though, I'm just going to try and get rid of this first surface so I can get some filler on it. Breathing stuff, 40 grit, and a big fan blowing stuff that way.
The wing's up on the stand, it's got some body filler on it, I sand it off. Repeat that for 3 weeks. It's pretty dull to watch, so I'm going to cut to the bits where there's something visible different on the wing and talk about those pieces. So here you can see I've slapped a second coat of filler on it. This is giving me a nice thick coat to work with. I'm going to sand this down. You can see where I've got the high spots, low spots. What I'm actually worried about is making it smooth or faired so that the wing doesn't have big ripples in it. To try and get that smooth, I spray it black first of all, just some spray paint, and then use a big sanding block, so 3 40 grit discs stuck end on end. Big disc, slide up and down the wing. That takes off the high points, leaves the low points. As you can see by all those dark low points, I've got quite a lot of work to do. What was annoying was, despite how thick that first coat of filler was, I'm still cutting through to the foam in places. Now that does need to come through filler, so the whole thing's going to have to be filled and sanded again. To cover the foam, I stuck a thick layer of filler over the top again. This isn't the finished job, this is halfway through, stop to film it. I decided to do the wheel arch while I was at it, so some plastic to form the arch shape, and then a carefully trimmed spreader card to get that profile. So now you get to watch me sand. There's the sanding block I use, just 3 standard discs slapped on top of the Velcro. I should get a long strip, but I can't be asked. Sprayed the wing black so you can see where I'm sanding, where the high spots and low spots are. Now watch me sand. I couldn't force you to watch this at normal speed, so here's it 16 times. You can see the sandpaper gets the black paint off, but leaves some behind. If you look, you can see puffs of white powder flying out the door. Yeah, it's no more thrilling than it looks, and it takes bloody ages. And this is just one of the sessions. Someone said about t-shirts, by the way. These are all my old shit t-shirts, which are too small. They get covered in crap and thrown away. That's why I use them for this job. Don't criticise my fashion sense. I don't pretend to have it. I'd love to say this was the next morning, but it's 7 o'clock, about 5 mornings later. All this work's been done between 6 and 9 in the morning before work starts. Anyway, it's a lot smoother, but still needs filling work. We're getting there. Small victories. I'm using 150 grit now instead of the old 40. That's because I've got the shape fed in, and I'm now actually smoothing the body filler. The big problem's lurking around the front. What the hell do I do about this headlight surround? And speeding along now, we've got some filler on the headlight surround. Going to sand that down and make it beautiful. More sanding, more filler on the headlight round. Also did the bonnet shut because that's going to be part of the mold, so it's all going to be pretty. And then decided to try and make that headlight surround a bit more even, so some scientific marking out. With a little bit of careful shaping, it'll be ready in no time.
As I get closer to finishing off that front wing, I thought I'd check it on the car itself. So, obviously, that wing's getting close when it's bolted on. But I don't think it looks too bad. If you look from here, the flare out isn't too bad. It flows reasonably well. Headlight looks a lot better. That was the other one. I've marked a line up there where I need to merge into the bonnet and need to get rid of that hard line there. So I'll do that, then I'll work on finishing it. After a lovely weekend away with the wife, I've had some time to think about this, and now I'm back in the garage trying to work out what I want to do. My concern is I'm going to take a mould off that, and obviously you got recesses in the headlights up under the arch, and then around this side you've got the flange where it bolts on. Now, as well as bolting on there, it's going to have to bolt on the inside along there somehow. So I'm going to need this mould to come down here and across that way, which means I have to split it sort of from the high corner here to the high corner there. So that's one mould, that's the other, and I'm going to need a front mould here. I've got to straighten that edge out and put some kind of lip under that so I can bolt that down onto the car. Using my wonderful laser level, that little green line you see across there shows that that bit's level.
I raise the laser level to make it align with the front of the car and then cut along the green line.
Well, that was pleasingly rapid progress. That I'm now happy is curved enough. That I'm now happy is level enough. I think what I'll do, I'll finish doing the top of the mould, then flip the whole thing over and do the underside.
At this point, I realised the next stage was spray with primer. I've never used a spray gun before, so that's going to be a whole new video. I better get this rest of this finished. So the other wing's got some slop on it. I'll do the bonnet, so I'll probably show you the bonnet shut line. So hang in there, we're nearly over.
Trying to make progress on my day off, so that's up there. That's the other wing waiting to be blasted with 40 grit. There's that one drying. I've just done the edges. There's a whole stack of used 40s. This is going to be a rough sanding just to try and get that into the basic shape. Then I'll start blocking it down and hopefully we'll get success. This one should be far quicker than the last one because I sort of know what I'm doing. Well, it's either a mega session of coke and hookers or I've been sanding again. Yeah, sanding unfortunately. So another lovely day in Southampton. It's rainy. Brought the wing inside. Made a template from the other headlight. Flipped it over. Put it on here. To stop it sticking, I cut a template out of the plastic, put that behind it, pin it off, and the plastic mostly came off. Just got to sand that down, then fill this little dent here, and we should be pretty good for tomorrow.
Except I ran out of filler powder. Welcome to this exciting episode where I share my pearls of wisdom gained from this first ever go at body filling and sanding.
This is what I've learned. It's not a how-to video, it's not a recommendation video, no sponsorship, nothing like that. It's just what I've learned doing it myself for the first time ever. Might save you some mistakes, might help you. Okay, filler. I've been using epoxy resin and 3M glass baubles. I've built this up from foam, so I need some really high volume filler. Then get the shape, so I need some kind of medium density filler. And I wanted to take to a finish, so I need some fine finishing filler. This is one filler that I mix with lots of baubles in it to make it bulky, and you can go, I don't know, best part of an inch thick, no cracking, no shrinkage. Then mix it with slightly less bauble, so it's slightly more smooth and runny for shaping, and then leave it really runny, and I can use it as a finishing one. So rather than having lots of different body fillers, which is great in a body shop where you're going to use them, I just have one and it does everything. Might be more expensive if you're going to do it long term, but I'm doing one product, and I don't want to have half a can of high build, half a can of medium, and half a can of fine fill left over. So filler, I went for that option. It works for me. I'm really pleased with it. Mixing it up, just find something to mix it in. This is an old resin type cut in half. That works quite nicely to mix it up. I use a bit of bent metal on a drill. Bzzz, that mix that. Most of the time though, I'm not a great body filler, so I would do small batches. I was using cups. That's just a little paper cup. Paper, not plastic. Save the planet and all that. And then stir it with a lollipop stick. That is a lady's wax application. So if you want to shave your legs, apparently put the wax on with those. They come cheap in big bundles. Cheap off Amazon. Cheap is good, by the way. You're going to use loads of those. You're going to use loads of those. Buy the cheapest you can afford. They're pretty much single use. The mixing, applying the mixer. Yeah, you get these free cards, they're like credit card size things. They're okay, but kind of shit because they don't bend enough and they're too small. My friend next door, Mike, he just lent me his silicone flexi. They curve to the shape of the bonnet. That one's wide enough to go over big gaps. Smaller ones, yeah. These slightly flexible silicone ones, way better. That's filler. Oh yeah, when you want to make the edges, this is it's corrugated plastic. That's floor protection from wicks. Comes in 8 foot by 4 foot sheets. Very nice, but the epoxy sticks to it. So pain in the ass to try to remove and sand off. That Mylar clear plastic. It peels off epoxy perfectly. Leaves a glass smooth finish, absolutely delightful. So when I was doing the bonnet shuts, which you'll see in whenever I get around to making the next video, you'll see I use this, and even though I seal the bonnets of the wings, because of the Mylar, it just peels apart. God's gift to separating epoxy. Mixing boards, these come with multiple pages. Quite useful, but if you're mixing a cup with epoxy resin and you're using this stuff, a lot of the time I just literally lollipop stick, plop it onto the bodywork, smooth it down. So I didn't use that as much as I was thinking, but that's because of the body filler I was using and the amounts I was using. Acetone, buy lots. It's really important to clean your tools. Here's what happens with a scraper if you don't clean it. So I've sort of had to break bits. Yeah, you end up with all shitty bits on the edges. So that leaves lines in all your filler. When you're weighing resin and everything, put your scales in a plastic bag. All the shit goes in a plastic bag, doesn't ruin your scales. My wife would be really glad to get her kitchen scales back. Wear rubber gloves, whatever you do, this stuff gets onto your skin and it's a bastard. Sanding it back off again, where you spend the rest of your life. Sandpaper, buy lots, buy lots, buy lots, buy lots. Get a selection of discs. I was roughing it up. I used a bit 2B4 with some sandpaper stuck to it, a couple of staples. It works fine. That was great for 40 grit, just trying to get the big lumps in rough shape, but I wouldn't recommend using that long term. A rasp, great for that first detailing work. I wouldn't use it once you get going though. These are foam sanding blocks. You get a curvy one, you get a big long one, get a couple of short detailing ones in a pack. They don't really bend, but there's a little bit of flex in there, so you can get slight curves. But what it does mean is when you're doing surfaces, you get a nice flat surface. So machining is a very quick way to get it, basically flat. But once you've got the big lumps and bumps off, go back to hand sanding so you don't get bumped it, bumped it, bumped it. If you want to work out how much you need to sand off, you've got a low spot. I found if you put filler over the top of it, try to sand it down, you're never quite sure when you've gone down enough. Just mark it with a pencil. Just draw a ring around the low spot, fill over the circle, including the pencil mark. As you sand it down, you'll start seeing on the edges, oh, there's that pencil mark, so you know you're roughly level. If your sandpaper's getting choked, get a brush, brush it out. That's especially for the heavy grit stuff. Don't be a miser with your sandpaper. When your sandpaper gets full, which it will with this resin, yeah, the resin builds up in it. You can brush that clean. My wire brush. Oh, look at that. It's almost clean again now. But you've still got all those bits filling the holes in. They're not sandy, they're scratching. Doing wheel arches, these little round sandy things, put them onto your drill. Yeah, they work really well. I've got a dirty grate fan, big garage door there. I have this pipe blowing into it and out of the little door in the corner there. When you are sanding, I cannot tell you enough, wear a mask. I don't give a shit about your health and safety. It's just so you can keep working. You cannot breathe in the amount of dust this stuff gives off. Blue Scotch tape, great for stuff. Aluminium tape, I think it's got its place, but so far it's a pain in the ass. You put it on, can't peel it off, it leaves a sticky residue. So I'm in two minds about that. I think I'm going to have to use it when I make my mould to cover the headlights, but really not sure. Right, so filler, you can buy lots of specialist ones, or the 3M I just use, it does everything. Get yourself some of those silicone spreaders, they're so much better, either the metal ones or the stupid plastic credit card ones. Sandpaper, get yourself some blocks, it will save your life. Clean your sandpaper off with just a normal brush, not that wire brush. Preserves its life, but throw it away when it is worn out or clogged. Mylar, God's gift to release. I think that's pretty good to go. Again, none of this is advice. None of this is recommendations. None of this is sponsored content. All of it is what I've discovered in the last 4 to 6 weeks of sanding.
Welcome to this exciting episode where we finally finished with filler. We're ready for primer. Hell, I even created a task list. Don't really get task lists, but this will do for a start. Don't want too much of this video on sanding, but here's the car with defects, and now we'll go and look how we cure them.
Okay, so this is about the 10th time I've said, and now we've done the basic sanding, I'm going to put some guide coat on it and do some 240 just to make it beautiful.
3M guide coat is way better than aerosol cans. Anyway, put it on and then sand it off.
Right, after much sanding is pretty much there. Still a few dark patches, but they're so smooth, I can't feel them. If I add more filler, with my skill, it's going to make it worse, not better.
After many hours of sanding, I decided to get the car off the ramp, drop it on the floor, and put the bodywork up to dry. So while it's naked, I thought I'd give you a quick walk around. You can probably spot stuff. There's headlights, suspension, there's your radiator, there's brake stuff, front wiring, there's fuel tank, it's stereo, sat-nav stuff, there's a frunk. You've got sensors. They're on both sides. Might be something to pass them because my car now has a pass them light on. Brake pipes, more suspension, some screen wash, and a battery. Anyway, if you're wondering where stuff is in your car, you can slow down and cut to look at the appropriate bit. Hope that helps. Now let's drop some bodywork on it. Looks okay at first, but slowly I die inside. It's too low at the front. It's too wide. That front wheel just sinks into that wheel well. Oh, I have fucked up. Oh, shit. That black silence you just experienced is nothing to what I felt.
Anyway, the sun came up and life moves on. Right, how do I stop the front end being so low? Well, I'll slap some foam underneath it, see what that looks like. Yeah, a lot better. Now, how do I stop those wheels disappearing into the arches? Part of the problem is that the standard wheels are inset anyway, so whack some 20mm spacers onto that should sort that out. The other problem is the headlights. They're side by side, quite wide. They also sit back a long way, and at the moment they hit the crash barrier. Hopefully, though, having raised it up with the foam, we won't have a problem there. Let's see how that goes. Raised above that crash barrier, the lights go further back, and you can see how much space there is on the left there. Bring that wing in nicely. Another advantage is they're much further back, which saves what, 10, 15 centimeters? Taking 10, 15 centimeters out of that section of wing won't hurt the styling at all. After careful consultation with the CAD team, I work out where to put the first cut. This is going to let me shorten the wing so it goes back to the headlights. I then need a horizontal line across the top of the wheel arch. Then I can fold that wing in so it doesn't stick out so far from the wheel. Another line to work out roughly what it should be to shorten it by, and then just bang an angle grinder over it. I did the first cut to take the headlight area off, then narrowed that to fit the headlights, and realized straight cuts on three-dimensional curved objects are more difficult than it looks. After some clever thinking, more angle grinding, and some gaffer tape, we've got something that's, well, not absolutely totally shit. Yeah, it means I'm going to have to change the bonnet, the air dam, the wing, going to do some more work around the headlights. Oh, shit, this is going to be fun. More thinking, angle grinding, gaffer tape, and I've got a roughly smoothish sort of wing. Now I'm thinking that headlight, there's too much space above it. Welcome to another early morning. Yeah, we've basically done the cut and shut on that front wing. Quite a lot happier with that length. Could potentially even be a little bit shorter, but before I can do anything else, I've got to work out where those headlights will go. I've dug out that old bit of carbon fibre we made, I don't know, many episodes, weeks ago. But I am going to have to find something that defines where these headlights go, because obviously that needs to be mounted firmly and adjustably, and there's not too many mounting points. A little bit of lunchtime deconstructive surgery. Need to get this back, so all that touchy stuff needs to go. Hopefully this will allow this to go back so it'll fit. So I've very carefully cut along the line so that this could all slide back on the car. Unfortunately, when I turn it over, yeah, that's cut straight through the front of this. So this goes in the bin. Alright, I'm going to stop this video here. I think you can see it's completely fucked at the moment. That needs cutting, shaping, sorting. I'm going to have to completely remake the air dam. I can't just push it back. Bonnet's going to need chop shortening. I want to make a proper box mount for the headlights so I can see where the headlight's going to sit. Can't do anything with that to get that wheel spacer sorted out. Wheel spacers in order. Light I'll make while you're not watching. I might do a video on it. And then I can start getting proportions of the wing. So we're back to about 3 months ago now. Yippee fucking doodah. Finish with a quick summary of where we are and how we got here. The wing being too wide, I kind of thought I'd be able to put a vent sort of round the back here that would hide the width. It didn't work well enough. The fact the wheels were already tucked in didn't help, so hopefully putting spacers on that will bring it out. Yep, that should be okay. Shortening it, well, that was more taking advantage of the fact I was having to cut the whole thing up anyway. I think it'll work stylistically. Headlights, now I know where the hole is and how far back it's going to be. I can turn that into something slightly more rugged with less gaffer tape. That'll give me a hard point for the headlights to fit to. That'll define how much I can drop the top of that headlight surround down. The plan is to lower that. I just don't know how much yet. That's compilation 4 complete. Like and subscribe for each episode or the new compilations.